Hey there, my fellow entrepreneurs. This is Thiago Mazil from Britzzlink.com here. I'm really glad you guys are here. So today I'm bringing you another startup interview. So we're interviewing Mikus Upmalis. He's the owner of Tridos, and it's a really nice web store. And you guys can check the link down below to see his store, and it's pretty fantastic. So we're gonna go through his business, talk why he created it, how he designed his products, how he sell his products, and how he does the distribution and many other aspects of his business. If you guys like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. In this channel we talk all about creating your own business, and I also share my thoughts on the master degree of entrepreneurship and innovation that I'm taking at Lund University in Sweden. Alright, so with no further ado, let's jump to the interview. Hello, my fellow entrepreneurs. So I'm here with Mikus Upmalis, our guest from today, and he's the boss of everything from Tridos. And I'm really glad to have you here, Mikus. Thank you very much. If you could introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your background and how you came up and found Tridos.
So hi, my name is Mikus. I basically am kind of a self-made product designer. My background is basically I went 1 year to a college, then dropped out, university, and spent 4 years working for a hardware startup here in Latvia, Riga. As of last December, I've now quit and started working full-time on my own company. I had the company already made when I was 18. This was like my side hustle business thing. I was basically providing 3D printing services here in Latvia locally, just to get some experience, just to meet some clients, just to get some pocket money going so I can afford to buy more printers and equipment for myself. As of last December, July, I think, this was just like a side hustle thing. My main job was still in the startup, now I've been like going full on, making my own brand and product line. So
that's very cool, man. I really admire all your products and what you're doing with the company. So that's pretty cool. So for you guys to know, Mikus is in the airsoft industry. So for you that don't know what's airsoft, it's basically a rough comparison here. It would be more like a sport, like playing paintball, for example, but it brings in more a reality to it because all guns are more realistic. Would you agree with that definition, or you want to add something?
Yeah, just to add it, it's basically like paintball, but just with smaller plastic BBs. I think the main difference is that the guns shoot more accurately and further, so that allows for a more tactical and more realistic experience. Obviously, it's not as real as a real thing, but sure. That's pretty much on point. Yeah.
But that's as real as it can get for a sport, right? So it's pretty cool. If you guys want to check it out, I'm going to leave the link down below here for Mikus' channel and also for his website, so you can take a look at the sport and the products that he creates. All right. So how long have you been playing airsoft?
It's been around 5 years now, give or take.
And how do you play? I saw that you're creating products for Novritsch products, mainly for sniper rifles. How do you play it? Which strategy do you use? Do you play just like a airsoft sniping, or you also play in other styles?
So I started off the airsofting with an M4 electric airsoft gun. It's an AEG. It's like an automatic rifle. That's basically the standard and the easiest one to get into the sport. It's just like that. That's the go-to if you want to start get into the sport and just get a feel for it. I played with that for around 2 years. It actually got to a point where it was too easy for me. Like I wanted a bit more of a challenge, and So basically, the difference between playing with an electric gun and a sniper is that for electric gun, you just have to pull the trigger and the gun cycles itself, and you can like go full auto and just spray people. For a sniper, you just get one shot and then you have to load the gun again and shoot again. So it's much more challenging. And after 2 years or so, I wanted to step it up and try out the airsoft sniping. So I got the relatively newly released SSG-24 from Novritsch. I thought it was a really well thought gun because I didn't want to spend like a ton of money upgrading the internal parts, because honestly I just wanted to go and try it out and see how the sniping feels instead of like spending my whole time taking the gun. And the whole product was really nice. I've never played with an AEG afterwards. I've now fully switched to snipers and pistols. So I'm really enjoying that kind of a role. But to be fair, like, I'm not playing as a normal sniper. I'm still in the very front of the lines, pushing ahead. I'm usually the first one in the team running ahead, despite I'm not having any automatic like AEG power to spray down people. But yeah, the play style, I'm still playing very aggressively, very behind the lines, trying to push the enemy, and that's what I enjoy. There's definitely other play styles with snipers, like when you dress up as a bush and just hide in the forest for the whole game and get like 3 kills. I'm not that type of a guy, so.
Yeah, and it makes really more interesting to go after like this style you're trying to play. So that's pretty cool.
Sure.
And how did you came up with the business idea? Was it after you purchased your first sniper rifle and you got into the Novritsch product? How was that idea and how did you evolve with that?
So basically, this was around last year, maybe June. I was basically at a point in the company I was working for, in the startup company, at a point where I felt like my creativity was kind of being limited in terms of like a product designer and the whole customer experience as a whole. I wanted to do a lot more, test more concepts, and I felt like the only way I can properly do that is by having my own brand and my own company. And so that's what I did. I wanted to I wanted to make my own brand where I could do everything as I wished, and that's what I did. And honestly, the only thing I chose Airsoft was just because that's something I was into at that moment, and that was a marketplace where I saw there was a lot of potential for higher end products. If you look at Airsoft generally as a whole, the whole marketplace and the whole like status of the ecosystem right now is most of the stuff on shops is very low quality. There's very low expectations of guns. Like, it's now changing, but 3 or 4 years ago that was how it was. And also the average player doesn't really expect much from the guns. So it's very easy to meet, like to have a customer with low expectations and deliver very high quality. And that means that the customer is generally like very impressed with the product, and that drives the sales. So basically, I had my Novritsch gun. I knew that the customer base for Novritsch is players who generally want to spend a little bit more money for out of the box experience and convenience. And so that's exactly what I did. I basically created the first product, which was a thing that allows to unload BBs from a magazine. It's absolutely not necessary in the sport. It's something you would want to do out of a convenience, and just like if you're trying to keep your equipment like in a good shape. And I'm not sure if I mean, I can show you the product. It's stupid simple. So just to give you an example, this was the first product I released. So I'll show you on both cameras. So it's basically a plastic part with a spring on top that has a small plunger that pushes onto the BBs. Yeah, so here's the magazine. So basically how it works, you screw this on top of a bottle, you push the magazine in, and you just press the BBs out one by one. And that's basically it. It sounds stupid, but people were like excited for this product. Like honestly, I wasn't expecting such a nice feedback, but yeah, that's basically how I got into like creating products. And once you get one product out, like people are starting to suggest another product ideas. You get also more into a mindset where you start looking out what else is there and what kind of products you want to make, and yeah, and just like the ideas kept coming like one by one, and you just keep executing, and yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I think that's also like how Novritsch also found his niche, let's sort of say like this, because the sniper rifles, as I understand, they normally don't come like as an out of the box solution. So people buy it and they have to buy lots of parts to upgrade it because it won't last long. The rifles they have there in the market. So Novritsch released that product, and you also found a sub niche inside of that for Novritsch product. So that is fantastic to see that, and also having experience prior to this with prototyping and using 3D printers, I definitely bet that this helped a lot in the process, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I went into this knowing that I'm a product designer. I basically know how to do all the prototyping, manufacturing. I have a pretty good taste, I would say, for like overall just customer experience, website design, just design overall. So it was quite a good match to apply my knowledge and skills into this segment and this space at that time. So yeah.
Yeah, and could you share with us a little bit of how you created the first prototype and how was this experience?
Yeah, basically, as you can see, I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I basically now have like 5 3D printers at home. At that time, it was only one 3D printer, but I was very experienced with it. That was basically what I was doing in the other work too. So I've basically been 3D printing from age of 15. I have all the skills basically to start designing and making a prototype. So basically what you have to do is you basically have to make a 3D model, and then you can print it, then you can assemble it and test it out. And honestly, this first product took it was a quite easy product to make. And yeah, so I probably made it in like maybe a few weeks, sitting at home, in the evenings, just tinkering around. Since it's such a basic product, there's nothing much. There's a screw, there's a spring, and there's like a three 3D printed parts, and that was basically it. But the idea going into was I wanted to create the design to a point where I could easily start printing these in hundreds. So I'm already thinking ahead, not making like a single prototype and just seeing what sticks and what people like, but like I really wanted to refine the design to a point where I could just like, okay, I can print one, but I can also print like 10, and then I can print 10 on 3 printers at the same time, and start slowly scaling up. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's very interesting to see how you were looking not just for the prototype but also for the long run of the company. So that's something that is really cool as well. And can you share with us what were your biggest challenges when in your first phases of the company after you started prototyping and everything?
For sure. I mean, probably the biggest challenge was figuring out a way to sustainably ship the orders. Like, as soon as I released the first product, I think I got like 50 or 100 orders like in a week or so. And it's quite tough to figure out how to ship them. If you're living in a country like United States or like a bigger like United Kingdom or whatever, there's enough companies that provide some sort of a service that allows to integrate with your, let's say, Shopify store. They have a simple solution for shipping out orders. But for me, like, I'm living in a small country where there's very few of these solutions available. So basically, I had to figure out how to use the local postal service and sustainably figure out how to export the data from Shopify then into their system, how to print the labels and not go crazy. So that was the biggest challenge. But like we basically created an Excel sheet with some scripting, and eventually that solution worked for us for almost a year, to a point where we were shipping around 120 orders a month. But yeah, so it worked for a while. It was pretty good, but after a while it got really heavy on my time, so we had to drop it and switch to something more elaborate. But yeah, if you're living in a bigger country, this is not such a big issue, because there's like companies called ShipStation. They provide like end-to-end service. They provide good pricing. So this is something I had to deal with. Yeah.
So logistics was basically your main issue for this start, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What about promoting the products online? Was it also an issue? How did you manage that?
So, fun story. So, Novritsch had created a group on Facebook called SSG24 Owners Group, which coincidentally happened to be exactly my target audience, guys who own this kind of a gun. And so basically, I just recorded a small video on my bed blanket, so there's like a proper background of how the product worked. Posted this video onto that group, and I was off to the races. So the orders came in, people were happy, people liked what we made, the quality we were making in, and we basically built the business off of that group. So now there's like several other groups, like SG10 owners, SG 96 owners, SX23. So basically for each of the guns, Novritsch makes a group for these owners to communicate, figure out issues and stuff. And we've basically built this business on top of those groups, which is kind of funny because and a blessing in the sky, because promoting gun related content generally on like Facebook, Google, or like any other ad service which offers paid ads is very problematic, because nobody usually sorts out, okay, this is airsoft and this is real guns, and real gun content is not allowed. So usually they just don't even care and just straight up block any of those kind of ads, and that's something we've felt in ourselves too. We almost had a Facebook account, ad account blocked, because of selling guns. So yeah.
Yeah, that's problematic. We had one guest speaker in our master degree that she created some creams that were based with hemp, but they displayed as marijuana. And then they got banned from several websites and from Facebook and from everything. So you definitely should be careful by using those words. And I think maybe if you use just airsoft, you should be fine with that. But if you put airsoft guns, maybe that's already a problem for...
Yeah, we had a mixed experience with Facebook ads. Like, we basically pushed an ad, it was approved, it was fine, we were running it. Then after a month or two, we wanted to run this ad again. And suddenly they marked it as, oh, nope, you can't do this. And then I applied for a review, and they said, nope, no, you really can't do this. And it was kind of nonsense. And at the same time, we made a new ad, which was quite similar in the content. Like, there's no like guns or gun words involved. There's just some pictures of it. And that ad didn't get approved initially, but once we reviewed it, it was okay. So it was like the review policies are all over the place, and it really comes down to the agent that reviews this ad. And yeah, so we basically just we came to a conclusion that we really can't rely on these kind of ad services, and we basically have to make different ways how to promote those products. So it's Facebook groups, YouTube content, Instagram, influencer marketing. So basically like that. Yeah.
That's even better, because then you got to grow organically, right? So that's pretty cool. So going back to the production, we saw that you have around 3 3D printers back home. Are you printing all your products, or are you also outsourcing part of the production, or are you using some sort of drop shipping method? How are you doing with that production?
So for the first 6 months or so, all of our product offerings were 3D printed parts. Then we started introducing, just because we were making like SSG24 related products, we knew that we could add like another products that people were buying for SG24s. Like for example, there's like this silicon rubber part that one other guy makes in Czechoslovakia, I think. And we basically said to them, okay, well, can you resell this part? And then we started adding like some off-the-shelf parts that also people were interested in buying, so they would have like just one place to order from. And as of last March or so, we've started incorporating, like we're started to slowly move away from 3D printing where possible, and start outsourcing CNC machine parts, mostly from China. We've been outsourcing some of the 3D printed parts from a different type of technology that's more durable and better looking. Some of those parts where it makes sense, we are ordering from Italy or UK. But yeah, we generally know that, I personally know that we don't want to start making a 3D manufacturing business. We want to keep scaling a product design business. So I know that if we don't move away from the 3D printing in the long run, we'll just end up with like 20 printers and a farm that needs managing, and that's not really what I want to do. I want to keep making awesome products, and it honestly makes sense to do that also because of the product quality, the finish. Like you're stuck with the 3D printing finish for most part, and there are cases where it works and there are cases where it doesn't work. So we're trying to move away as much as possible, but we're still making a lot of parts. We have 3 printers running 24/7, and it's for now it's working pretty good.
Cool. You mentioned CNC manufacturing, but that's mainly for the metal parts, right?
Not necessarily. We also have a few plastic parts that we're machining, but those are very specific parts that need high tolerances and like great precision. But yeah, mostly it's for metal parts. Yes.
But do you also have some sort of injection molding type of production?
So not right now. Basically, the reason being is that our quantities so far have been very low, and it makes very little sense to invest in upfront like the tooling cost for the injection molding. But we have plans to make 1 or 2 products into injection molding, the ones we know that are doing really good. For example, the unicorn adapter. If you look at the website, it's one of the products that's mostly universal to literally every airsoft pistol on the market, and it's a quite a new product, and people really like it, and we see the numbers going up, and we basically want to move that into injection molding this year as soon as possible, because we know there's a great potential, and I know that scaling up 3D printing for this product is not really going to be sustainable in the long run. It's going to make much more sense to move into injection molding, but that's the only product right now. Generally, we've just steered away from products where we need to put a lot of upfront development cost into it, because for a small business, it just makes more sense to either 3D print. Even the CNC machining on a low scale is very affordable if you look into China or even like locally. So yeah, so basically that's where we're at. Yeah.
Cool. And from those manufacturing companies that you're outsourcing the production, how did you find them, and how was the process to finding them and setting up a contract and getting the first batches in to test?
Yeah. So basically, I would say 90% of outsourcing we do for the CNC parts are coming from China. So that's something I got to experience firsthand in the startup company I worked before, and I had the chance to go to China on 2 trips to meet these manufacturers and see if they're real, if how they're working in there and stuff like that. But yeah, essentially the process is like that. You go to Alibaba.com. It's the place where every Chinese supplier that is producing for Europe is located, and you just basically send them the drawings, ask them for pricing. You basically send a bunch of quotations to a bunch of companies, see which ones respond. Then you narrow down to 1 or 2, order some samples, and go from there. And that's basically been how we've been working with them for the past year or two, and it's been working out great. You just have to do quite a bit of communication.
So, how was dealing with those people from China, like communication wise? Was it easy, difficult? How was it?
It generally comes down to the individual factory. There's like a range of language barrier. There's like Chinese guys I've worked with that basically can't talk English at all. They just use Google Translate or like their own service. That's been a fun experience, but we've ordered from such a factory and the result was just like really good. And there's also like companies that have almost native English speakers, which the communication flows very easily. But basically it comes down to the right combination of communication, well, having the language barrier. You basically have to lower your English quality and the grammar to a very, very bare, imagine if you're talking to like a kindergarten kind of kid, then you're on the same level and you can get pretty good communication with them. But yeah, you really have to come down. They don't understand like complicated words, but as soon as you do that and try to explain in simple concepts, usually you can work out basically anything with them. They're very capable. Even if they don't offer a certain service, they most probably know another company locally that they can use and manufacture the goods for you. There's like very different ways how to work, but yeah, generally the experience has been great. Honestly, I can't recall if we have had like a major screw up with any of the Chinese factories. I can't really remember. There has been like a few occasional quality issues here and there, but usually Chinese guys are very helpful because they're interested in the long-term cooperation with you. So they're not trying to screw you up over one order. Usually if they actually do screw up some of the parts, they're very forthcoming, and often they will just replace the parts for free. They just make new parts and send them over for free. So that's generally the experience has been good, I would say.
So what about patents for your products? Do you have any patent, or why not?
So my thinking behind the patents is quite simple. We don't have any patents. We're not planning to do any in the near future. My belief is that if you make a good product, you much rather spend the time into marketing, promoting, and making the product better to get the actual market share first, rather than making spending the time to make a patent. This obviously doesn't apply to all products. Obviously, if you have managed to make a discovery, some technological advantage, like made some new medicine or stuff, obviously that doesn't apply there. But generally, if you're talking about general hardware products or software products, it generally, I would say, it doesn't make sense to go after patents. A good example I can give you is actually, you probably know the hoverboards with the, generally the hoverboards, they were like 2 years ago, like very popular. The thing where two wheels and you stand on and then you can ride back and forth. So fun story, like just an example of why I have that kind of philosophy is, the inventor of the hoverboard was, I think, a US-based Japanese inventor or something. He basically created this concept and this design for this product. But instead of just trying to push it on the market, he basically spent the time applying for the patent. In the meantime, Chinese guys figure out, oh, well, we can actually make this product 3 times as cheap, because the US guy made it very complicated with the accelerometers and stuff, and there's like complicated algorithms. Chinese guys basically removed all that and just relied on the human accelerometer, and what they did is they started producing them, and the US guy, well, he basically tried to sue the Chinese guys, and by the time he won 1 or 2 cases against these factories, 5 other factories near that factory was already making them, and he basically got overwhelmed to a point where like there was ever like 100 of factories making these products and shipping them to the US, and there was nothing he could do, and he basically missed out on the opportunity to take the market for himself. And honestly, I feel like the better product and the better product customer experience will win in the end anyway. So especially for early companies, I would say it's much more valuable to just invest the time and effort into making the product better, making the customer experience better, and that's been working out really, really good for us. I mean, time will tell if this was the right strategy, but yeah, that's what we're going for.
Yeah, I think you do have a risk of other people just copying your product and releasing and maybe finding a cheaper way to produce them. But just like you said, maybe the strategy of coming first in the market and introducing that product and creating a brand after that could cover that risk and be worth that way.
Fun story. We actually have had an issue with this. There was a guy in US who basically copied 100% all of our products. Also 3D printed them. He basically bought the products and just made copies of them. From what I've seen, he did it at such a low quality website. I would be surprised if somebody would actually have bought any of the products. And as soon as he posted this information on some of the groups, like people just laughed and like just called him out. And honestly, I wouldn't order from him either. The product just looked bad compared to us. And so yeah, that's kind of an interesting experience that we had to go through. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. Well, that's good. So what else? So how do you handle the sales and the shipping of your products? You mentioned that logistics was one of the big issues from the beginning. How did you manage that?
So to start off with sales, so we basically just have our own shop, our own Shopify store. We drive all the traffic we can possibly get to that place. We have 1 or 2 resellers over the pond in US and Canada, but we did that solely to increase our shipping times to our US and Canada customers that don't want to ship overseas from Europe, and that's been working out pretty well too. But yeah, we generally went the direct to customer approach, and that's what I think works the best in this era right now. Solely because you don't have to lose out on the revenue if you have a semi-decent website and you know how to drive the traffic. And regarding the shipping, so we basically in September we fully switched to a fulfillment company. It's funny actually, regardless of who are your audience or who's listening to this right now, there's this company called Printful. It's actually a Latvian-based company, but it's international. So their headquarters are based in, I think, California or somewhere in the US. They basically have warehouses around the globe. So they have 2 in Europe, 1 in US, 1 in Australia, 1 in Canada. And they basically do fulfillment as a service. They have all the integrations for WooCommerce, Shopify, all the major platforms. And this was what we started with working on with September, because that was the only company that provided like a proper integration for the Shopify, like just integrate and just go. And it's been working out really well. So since we've switched to fulfillment, we've actually tripled our order amount, and I can't imagine how we would be shipping out 300 orders per month. That would be just complete hell. So that's been working out really, really well. That's probably one of the best decisions we've made this year to switch to a fulfillment company. It's not super cheap, but it's 100% worth it, especially if you're 1 or 2 guys in the company. That's gonna free up a lot of your time.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you mentioned Printful, because I also have a tutorial in my YouTube channel teaching people on how to create a WordPress website integrating with Printful to have the print on demand on t-shirts and other apparel products. So that's very interesting. I can also leave a link here, guys, for you to check out my tutorial as well, and you can see the service that Mikus is using in his company.
Yeah, they're 99, I would probably say 98% of their business right now is still print on demand, but they're slowly starting to push the fulfillment business as well. And yeah, they're trying to make it more affordable and easier for customers to get the products in their warehouse, and they basically ship all the orders out from there. It's integrated with Shopify. There's I literally have to do nothing. Like everything's done automatically, and that's like a blessing. Like previously, I had to like I was kept getting notifications of orders, and I was like, oh man, I'll have to ship order today and go through all the process. And since we've switched to fulfillment, it's been like a blessing. On like, oh, you can just like sit down and watch the orders come in, and you don't have to do anything at that point. So that's been really nice. That's yeah.
Exactly, and then you can focus in other areas of your company that needs
Exactly.
attention, and you have that handled by a third party that do that pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, so how about your website? You mentioned Shopify. How did you create the website? Do you use Shopify, WordPress? How was it? Did you create it by yourself, or you hired someone to create the website for you?
Yeah, so basically from early days, I've been like the one-man army guy type of thing. I've previously created a few WordPress sites. I've done one with WooCommerce. So I have some experience making websites, but I wouldn't consider myself like someone who could do that for a living. I've basically created 3 or 4 in my lifetime, but yeah, I basically went into this project with a single mindset, that being that I want to create a website that just works, and I can focus my time on business and developing the products. And basically that choice went to Shopify. And so far it's been like super amazing. I basically created the website myself, signed up for Shopify. I found fun story actually. The first product I launched was actually on my existing WordPress site, using a Shopify Lite plan that's meant for integrating in your own website, just a small button that says like buy now, or just like a product placement. And that worked for 2 or 3 products, I think. Yeah, basically for the first 2 or 3 products, I did that. I had my own WordPress website. I was paying $9 a month, I think, for Shopify. I just didn't want to justify making a whole website for a single product, knowing it might not even sell that good or something like that. So $9 plan was a really nice thing to justify. So everyone can start up. And as soon as I started seeing that, okay, this is starting to slowly take off, I switched up to a proper Shopify plan and proper Shopify store. And yeah, it's been a really good experience. Like, I created the website myself. I have quite high standards in terms of how the website should look, and just how the whole experience should look. And that's why I invested in a paid theme. So they are quite costly on Shopify side of things. So for WordPress, you can easily get like a template for $30 or $60, and it's a pretty average price there. But for Shopify, if you're looking at a premium template, it's going around for €300, and that's what I paid for my template. But honestly, that's been like 100% worth it. Like, I've even had like job offers made to like, okay, guy, you made this website, it's like freaking amazing, like we want to hire you just for the web design. And I was like, oh no, it's just a template and stuff. So that's definitely paid off, and I really like how it looks. And yeah, basically Shopify, $30 plan, €300 upfront investment in a template, and that was good. Yeah.
So you're happy switching from WordPress to Shopify. So that was a positive change.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was a good starting plan to start with the WordPress, because I already had the website. So I basically just made a sub page where I could direct people to, and Shopify already handled all the checking out, all the gateways. So it was a very simple, easy process to set up. And also the backend where you manage all the orders and the customers is like honestly really good for Shopify. Honestly, I feel like when I went into Shopify, I was kind of scared, like, okay, what if people do like refunds? What if people want to add some things to the orders already made? So yeah, basically I was really worried how to handle all these real business side of things. But I was really pleasantly surprised to see like that all the workflows have been really thought out on Shopify side of things. Like, you can refund with a single button, like managing and editing orders even after they've been paid, and like everything is taken care of. And honestly, if you want to just create a business and focus on doing the business instead of like maintaining the website, making sure that the CEO is good, making sure that like all the updates are installed. Like Shopify is like 100% way to go right now, and it's fully justifiable for the monthly price. Like I've always been like the guy who likes to, okay, if I make a WordPress, I can get it for like €5 a month because that's the only hosting fee for the servers and stuff like that. But having tried this route, like if I would make any business again, like 100% Shopify. Like no, it's not even a thing like in my brain to like consider any other options.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the part I still need to try out Shopify to see how it looks in the back end and everything, and see how it deals with the orders, how the system behind it looks like. Because WooCommerce sometimes can be a little bit tricky in that side. So I'll definitely try the Shopify to see how it looks.
I mean, having used WooCommerce for one of the projects I did early on, like I wouldn't like honestly if you're a person who's not very comfortable with doing like quite advanced things with computers, like I wouldn't trust any of the WooCommerce things for like a regular person like managing the business. I think there's just like all the plugins, all the compatibility issues, all the like front end things. It's just like a mess, and there's like very easy ways how to like mess things up. I would say on Shopify side of things, there's like nothing you can mess up. It's so easy and so well done. So yeah, I mean, the Shopify market share speaks for itself. Let's put it this way.
All right. And what about search engine optimization? I know we already discussed a little bit how you promote your products, and it was mainly organically through Facebook. Do SEO work smoothly with this platform, or did you feel any difference migrating from WordPress to Shopify?
Honestly, for the time being, when we were using WordPress, I honestly doubt that there was much traffic coming in from Google. But now that we've been using Shopify like for almost a year and a half now, the SEO is really good. I've basically touched nothing, and it just works. Like if you search for example, there's a part called X-range bucking. It's like a rubber piece for an airsoft gun. Like honestly, if you search it in Google, I'm in the top 3, even in front of the manufacturer website. So and I've basically done nothing. I have had to adjust slightly the descriptions for some of the products early on, but for some of the products I haven't touched it, and they're ranking really good in Google. So and it's bringing in quite a bit of traffic now. It's not a lot, but I think it's 20% of our sales or something like that. So it's noticeable, and yeah, you can quite easily find our products on. But I think a big thing that helped in the SEO too was having a very good base of posts on Facebook. We were also posting a lot of content on our Facebook page, and that's I think worked in our favor in terms of like showing Google that okay, this is like a good recommendation to promote also the website itself. So yeah, basically done zero work, and it's working really good. I remember doing SEO for WordPress, and to actually get it ranking, it took quite a bit of researching and trying and stuff like that. And for Shopify, it's working flawlessly so far.
That's really interesting. And do you use any techniques of creating blog posts or answering like frequently asked questions around Google to get more visits on your page, or just mainly social media?
So we have a blog, but that's mostly working as a diary to myself, just like announcing some business side of things to our fan base, just so people are more involved in the whole company process. There's quite a bit of people interested in like behind the scenes, but we haven't yet been doing any blogs that should drive content to our website. So that's not something we've been doing. And in terms of like answering questions, we're very active on Facebook groups in the places where the actual people that use our products and want to buy our products are located. And we even have like our own group, our own owners group that own our products. and that's been working out too. We have like a favorite answers and question page, but it's like mostly just for, just for looks, or some simple questions. So yeah.
Cool. And talking about the future of the company, how do you see the company moving forward? And do you want to expand even more the products portfolio? How are your plans on that?
Yeah, for sure. So right now we're like working hard to bring like a ton of new products to the market. We want to like step even up to like step up our quality and like the whole product range, and we're trying to expand now to also to other guns where it makes sense. We're expanding some of our we have this one product called TDC, which is like now basically number one in the whole airsoft sniping community, and we're trying to bring that to the most popular airsoft rifles other than Novritsch brands. But yeah, our goal is basically to be the go-to company that makes upgrade parts and like accessories especially for like exactly for Novritsch brand guns, because I think that Novritsch has a really nice customer base, and they leave this small gap where the guns are not as perfect as people would like them to. And we want to fill that gap and be the go-to company where people just go with any Novritsch gun and just get all the upgrades necessary or all the accessories required for the gun. So yeah, we're basically working on like everything Novritsch related, and yeah, and we're basically already halfway there. Like if you ask for any advice on any of the SG or SSX owners groups, like almost 100%, like the first few comments gonna name our brand and okay, this is the guy you want to buy from, and this is the company you should buy from. So far it's been working out, and yeah, we're basically, I think the 2021 was going to be a huge year. We almost hit 6-figure revenue this year, which is like kind of insane considering we're selling like a few plastic parts and a few aluminum pieces here and there. So I think that one of the products we're working on is a carbine kit for SSX 23. Fun fact, Novritsch released the SSX 303, which is like a pistol carbine kit, but fun fact is he's not selling it as a carbine kit. So for those who are listening, what is a carbine kit? You essentially want to, the pistol shoots really good, but the flaw why you can't use it to a full potential is because it's just a pistol. You can't hold it steadily enough. And what people do is they put like a plastic part around it that you can shoulder and make it more like a rifle, and then you can use the full potential of the gun. And what he did, he basically made like this carbine kit for the gun, but he's selling it as a whole gun. So he's basically screwing over everyone who bought the S623 in terms of that they can't upgrade, they just have to buy another of this pistol basically. And the other option is to basically buy a very poor, I mean there's high quality bits of 3D printed of these carbine kits, but no one is really making like a proper aluminum version just like Novritsch did. And so that's what we're doing. So we're making like a fully modular, fully aluminum, like very high-end carbine kit, and I think that's going to be a real successful product going into 2021.
That's really cool to listen to. And what challenges are you currently facing with that, trying to expand the portfolio and moving forward?
Yeah, so right now, probably, I was thinking of the question like earlier today, and honestly, the most brain power has gone for the past few days figuring out the packaging. Like doing packaging for a low volume product and doing it nicely is super hard. We've been trying to make some custom boxes, and the thing is, like obviously there's like this sustainability thing going on in the world where people are trying to like move to more recyclable or more sustainable packaging, and obviously we're producing plastic parts, and we don't want to be part of this problem that's creating like just plastic trash. So I that's not something necessary right now, but like I really want to go in this direction, at least providing the packaging in like a proper sustainable manner, and having like sustainable packaging has been a real pain in the butt right now. So right now, most of our products are being sold in like Ziploc bags, and they're just dirt cheap. Like if you look at the Ziplocs, honestly, one Ziploc bag like this costs less than a cent to buy, and we just stick on the sticker, and it's working fine, especially for cheaper products. But once you go into the product section where you're paying like 60 to 100 euros for a product, you obviously want to provide this nicer customer experience to the customer, and that's where we've been really facing an issue where we can't really get custom packaging made very cheaply. I mean cheaply or affordably, so it makes sense for a number of our products, especially the new carbine kit, and that's been a real pain in the butt. Like figuring out like a good alternative to Ziplocs, figuring out a way to package the products that doesn't look cheap, and you can do it in a relatively low volume. When I'm talking low volume, it's like 100 to 200 pieces. It's been a real pain in the butt. We're working on with some local companies now, trying to figure out the pricing if we were making custom boxes locally, but I'm not expecting like much out of it. There's like good services like packhelp.com. They're a Europe-based company, and we're actually ordering one of the products from them. So basically what they do is they have like already a set of cardboard boxes ready to go, and they can just print your own designs on it. The problem is they have very limited selection of the sizes available. So for a lot of especially smaller products, it's really hard to find a good fit in from these selections, and that's been tough. I mean, if you consider the plastic bag, it just costs a cent, and then you want to switch out to something better, the next best thing is usually around €1 and above per piece for a box, and that's hard to justify, especially early on.
Yeah, in the end, it affects a lot the P&L and the bottom line of your company if you spend too much on packaging, right? So you need to take care of that.
For sure.
Yeah, and just a tricky question right now. You mentioned that you were creating now like aluminum frames for the carbine, for example. Do you see yourself in the future creating airsoft guns and probably competing with Novritsch in the future?
Funnily enough, I mean, this product we're making is kind of competing with Novritsch products in a sense. But generally, no, we're not really looking to get into the gun business in the airsoft, just because we feel like we're trying to keep this company as small, as efficient as possible. And if you're selling guns, you need the support team, you need the parts, you need to figure out all the manufacturing. It's just a lot of investment up front. And honestly, I feel like there are now companies. This space is getting more competitive by minute, and Novritsch is doing like a really good job leading the industry in the right direction. So I feel like knowing the scale that Novritsch is working, and knowing the company that you need to run this kind of a business to properly support guns, I think that's not a direction we want to go in. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like we're creating a lot of products that will kind of sort of compete with Novritsch, especially like the carbine kit. If you, for example, like we're kind of gonna directly compete with him no matter what. He's creating a product, we're creating a product. It's basically the same thing, just different approaches. But you have to take into consideration that he has an audience of a few million people. I have an audience of like a few thousand people right now, so it's really hard to compare that as a competition. So. But yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And have you ever sold your products on Amazon? Do you plan to sell them on Amazon? How do you see that market in Amazon? Do you feel the need for that or no?
So we explored this avenue. So at the time when we were thinking of how to deliver products faster to the US and Canada customers, we kind of explored the option of sending products to Amazon. So there are two issues. So one of them is that the fees are quite high, and they're very strict regarding anything fulfillment related, anything return related, and couldn't justify the cost for that matter. And the second thing being is that most of the airsoft players are not buying from Amazon. There are bigger retailers in US and Canada that people are used to ordering from, like there's evag.com, for example, which is basically like Amazon for airsoft parts, and I think it's not where our customers are at. So that was another thing, and so we basically decided to do just a regular distributor kind of thing, where we just approach a few of the companies that already have established shipping networks, already have established customer base, and that have established reputation, and just like give them a 30 to 40 percent discount on our products, and just let them do their thing, and have our customers. We have a small pop-up on our website when people from US come in, and there's like a small pop-up saying, "Oh, we have an official reseller here if you wish to get the products faster, or you can buy directly from us." So, so that's basically our design thinking process behind the Amazon, and I don't think it's going to change in the near future. I don't think we're going to be selling our products on Amazon anytime soon. Yeah, for those two reasons.
Do you have any sort of affiliate program on your website, things to help promote your products in a, let's say, less expensive way? Maybe you can give like discount for sales, or even a commission on sales for the affiliates.
So when we're talking about like that kind of so this comes down to like the marketing, like how do you scale up the product and how do you scale up the audience. So this has been an avenue that I've been thinking of doing, but we don't have any such program right now. I have like very strict and so how to put it in other words. So I have a very exact, clear vision of how customer service and promoting products should be done, and I think I hate the idea of just spamming products in the face in the ads and whatever you can. I think that brings down the value of the product and the value of the brand down. We try to focus on selling a product that sells itself, and when people are looking for it, they can find it. But obviously, there's like, you have to apply some kind of promoting to the business just because it's a business. So and this is one of the things I've been thinking of maybe doing, and I'm thinking that we'll probably do it at some point this year, at least try it out. But yeah, we don't have any active experience. I think there's some challenges to how to handle such program in a manner where it's not intrusive of the brand, and that people are not spamming your products just because they want to earn some commissions or earn some free stuff. It has to be quite organic and fitting to the brand. So we haven't still figured that out, but that's something we want to explore in the near future. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's one thing that might help you out, because there are lots of affiliate programs out there that in order to be accepted, you need to fill out a form, and then you will be evaluated if you're going to spam the ads or not. So that must be a good way for you to analyze that and try to put that in place.
Yeah, for sure. I've been thinking like, so right now, people are still recommending our products regardless. There's plenty of fans who are still doing that anyways, and we would like to give some incentive to them, that to encourage them to do more. And I think a way to do that would be by providing either like discounts or like free merch from our store. I think we will be at a place where we can do this properly. Right now, we're just focusing a bit more on bringing some new products, but I think that I'm quite positive that we want to try this route out sometime in the near future, like to actually reward some of the fans that are really enjoying the products and are spreading the word for us.
One follow-up question on that, kind of a little bit out of the box, but still related. Have you tried sending out products to people that are influencers in that market and try to get them to do like unboxing or reviews on your products to get more views? So
essentially, we've done it in a very limited amount. We've been trying to reach out to some of the bigger guys, in the YouTube space that have like a few 100,000 views. For those, we've not been that successful, but we've sent a few things to some Instagram influencers, to some YouTube channels. Mostly, we haven't been doing that very seriously to have like some measurable returns. But yeah, that's also something that we're keeping back in our minds and trying to do more actively going forward, especially this year. We have a few channels that have been making reviews of our products regardless. They just purchased for their own money, but it's I think the problem is we're not at a point where we can sponsor some things, but approaching channels which are not really taking any money, just can take the products and just review them. They're not giving us enough return to do this very often. You have to find a balance. We haven't found it just yet, but yeah, that's something we want to try do more actively in 2021, especially considering that doing like paid ads is not really an option for us.
Yeah, that's a really cool alternative, thinking about the paid ads, because usually companies use a lot paid ads, especially in Facebook, Instagram, and seeing your niche is not so welcome to paid ads, that could be a great way to go out and promote your product. Well, man, thank you very much, Mikus. It was really great to have you here in the channel and talking about your business. Just to close up here, I would like to ask you if you have any advices for people that are just starting out in entrepreneurship and they want to open their own business.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's some, I think, three things that come to my mind. I have to check the notes, but essentially the first one is like, if you want to start out like a small business or a medium-sized business, I think the safest and the most success you can set up yourself for is by going in a very specific niche. So just to give you an example, I started out in a niche where, so there's this airsoft market, then there's sniper market, which is like less than 10% from the whole airsoft market, from my opinion. If you go to an airsoft game, for 100 people, there are like maybe 7 snipers on the game. And from that audience, I chose specifically one exact gun that one company released, and I was making products for just that one gun. And that ended up kickstarting the whole other business, and it's quite a similar approach when you compare it to like Tesla. Obviously, that's like a very big name. They did a very similar thing. They started making very niche sports car for a very niche market, for people who are willing to pay up a higher money for a good product, and then they started slowly reinvesting that money to make more and more widespread and like products made for more regular people, and that's what we'll be doing here, and I think that's part of our success. That's going off a timer. I have to, what? 1 second. Okay. I just had to check that the filament hasn't run out on my 3D printer. So yeah, basically the main idea here is that like trying to focus on a very niche, especially on a very small niche that you know, is very important. And if you're not in a niche that yourself are you're experienced yourself, you can maybe find a buddy or some other people who are experienced in some kind of a niche that they know in and out, and then you can apply your knowledge and your business skills to grow in that niche. So I think that's one of the most important things, and that's been proving to work really well when you're making product to solve a problem instead of making a product and then figuring out how to sell it. So I think that's something that's very very have proven to be working. And also another thing, I think too many people in past few years have been trying to come up with the next unicorn, the next big huge startup thing, and raise a lot of capital and then burn through cash, and just I think people have forgotten about smaller scale business that can be really sustainable. Like I've reached almost like a fully sustainable business that has almost grown to six figures in a 1.5 years. So I think that proves a point that there's actual niche products that can be made that can provide a sustainable business for you and a few other people. And I think that's largely have been forgotten in the past few years amidst the whole startup craze going on around the world. And yeah, that's my 2 cents.
That's pretty cool, man. Thank you very much for the interview. I hope to purchase your product soon as I start practicing airsoft, and let's see how it goes, man.
Just give me a heads up. I'll send you some of the stuff for free, so no worries.
Oh, that's great to know, man. I'll definitely do some reviews on it. So thank you very much, guys. I'll leave the link for Mikus' website and also his YouTube channel so you can check it out, as well as for Novritsch website and YouTube channel, since we mentioned him a lot as well in the video. And that's pretty much it. Thank you very much, guys, and we see you in the next video.